Okay, our brisket's just a little bit over 13 pounds, fully untrimmed, and I'm going to just take and cut a few little hash marks on each side, kind of a diamond shape pattern. That way we'll let it get the seasoning rub into it. Nothing too heavy, just a sharp tip of a knife. And then in kind of a diamond fashion. We'll do this on both sides. Okay, we're going to rub the brisket and probably do the ribs pretty much the same thing. Not going to measure it out, just sprinkle it straight on the meat. Starting off with some kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper, chili powder, and garlic powder. I'm usually a stickler for doing my fresh ground black pepper, but in this case it's going to go in the smoker, and it's a pain in the butt to really grind that much out of a grinder. So anyway, kind of putting the bigger chunk things on first. Just a light, good, decent coating. You're going to use a lot of spices on this, but a decent coating on both sides of the brisket. We're going to get a nice coating on everything. It's black pepper. And chili powder. If you're going to do some smoking, it's always good to buy your seasonings like at Sam's or some other wholesale club, because you use a lot of this stuff. And if you buy the little packages in the store, it can get expensive. And a little garlic powder. Now this stuff you don't have to be quite as heavy with, but a good smattering across. Now, I'll have to have two hands here, but anyway, I'll take and just kind of massage this into the meat. It's not really called a rub because you rub it in, but it is good to get a good sprinkling. And I'll take and put it on the sides. I'm going to flip the brisket over. I'll do the same thing on the fat side. And when I put it in the smoker, I'm going to put the fat side down in the smoker. It actually helps it. Used to think that leaving the fat side up would help, with basting the meat as it goes. Turns out it really works a little better putting the fat side down, because it protects the meat from the heat coming straight up from the bottom, and it actually keeps things from burning. And if you do happen to get the fire a little too high, it'll crisp up the fat and your meat is still protected. So anyway, I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing. Next, I want to show you a very important step for smoking ribs, baby back or spare ribs. You need to peel the ribs. Get a sharp knife like we have here. Start at the bottom of the bone, and just put it between that real tough membrane and the bone itself. Just lightly slide it up along the first rib till you meet, basically where the membrane ends and the meat starts. Then grab one of the best tools in the world for getting this off, a paper towel, dry paper towel. Just get it with your fingers and just pull the membrane forward. A lot of times, see, it'll come off in one section. This is very important for any kind of ribs. It's going to let smoke penetration, seasoning penetration, and that stuff just does not cook. So get it out of the way and you'll have a much better rib. And my sous chef is looking for scraps. Right, doing spare ribs today because I couldn't find any baby backs left at the store. But these are good. Just got to cook them a little longer. And actually they can turn out as good or almost better as baby backs, just because of all of the connective tissue. You just got to make sure and give it time to come undone. Showed you how to undo the silver skin in the back. I'm going to season these the same up as I did the brisket. Sometimes I use sugar a little brown sugar instead of salt, but this time I'm just kind of doing everything the same. Want to go a little lighter with the salt, since it's such a thin piece of meat. And then go ahead and cake on the other ingredients. Sometimes I'll use a little cayenne pepper, but you have to go sparingly with them because that can really build up on these. Alright, well, going to season up the second rack and check the fire. We've got the coals going outside. And today we're going to be mixing a little bit of hickory and mesquite. Alright, got a little fresh mint here. And a couple of limes. And a makeshift muddler. A little bit of orange bitters. And working with a little Buffalo Trace bourbon. And add some ice. And top of the little Sprite.
With both sides struggling to reach a compromise, former President Clinton jumped into the debate.
Little barbecue beverage. I've done a chimney full of charcoal, and then I put a few coals on top of it. Now I'm going to load the wood on top. Just moving in, so it's kind of a mess here. Oops, last night's drink. Cheers. Bourbon, 7-Up, and fresh mint leaves out of the garden. Okay, since I'm doing the brisket, I'm going to put it on earlier. Mesquite really seems to do brisket a lot better. So, going to do start off with a couple of logs of mesquite, and I'll do one of hickory. And just kind of like you're making a fire in a fireplace, kind of make a little pyramid with them. That way the fire will burn a little more evenly. Okay, and let's get a good piece of hickory here. There we go. That's a solid log. Alrighty, go ahead and shut the lid and let that get going. Alright, well, got a lot of smoke going here. But anyway, got the brisket put in there, put it on the bottom shelf, fat side down towards the fire. I got the thicker end that has a little more the connective tissue. I have the really nice flat end down towards the end away from the fire. Putting this down on the shelf, it's about, well, it's probably about a good 6-8 inches away from the chamber, but as you can see, this baffle is making the smoke go around. Gonna put put another rack in, let's say about 1, 2, 3, third shelf up above the brisket. And that's where I'm going to put the ribs at next. Alright, got the smoker going. And I think this gauge may be a little off, but we're in close to about the 200 range. Usually like a little higher than that, but the fire's going pretty high. I've turned the vents down, but I think that's actually about the right temperature. Just put the ribs in a couple of seconds ago. And brisket's doing nice down here. And got a little sizzle down in the bottom, so I did turn the fire down. Oh, firing up the chimney starter again. We're going to make a black bean and roasted corn salad today. Alright, got some corn on the cobs to roast, just buttered them a little bit, salt and pepper. And we're just going to do these to get a little brown, a little char on each side. Really do need an assistant cameraman, Donna. Alright, got the thing on about medium. And it shouldn't take too long, we'll keep an eye on these. Alright, got a little brew, or the corn cooking. Doing one, it's a microbrewery, St. Arnold. This is their summer pills. Got a nice hoppy flavor to it. Actually, there's an aftertaste slightly of berry, although there's no berry in it. I'm not sure where it comes from, but really pretty good beer so far. Now let's check the corn. It's been cooking for about 3 or 4 minutes. Got a nice little browning there. Gonna swap the ears around so everything gets even cooking. Yeah, that's looking real good. All right, we're going to roast these on all sides for a little longer and take them off, let them cool. Then we'll make some salad with them. Okay, we've got the corn off the grill. It's had a chance to cool, and now we're cutting the kernels off with a knife. Make sure and run your knife as close to the cob as possible. That way you can keep all of the kernels intact. Makes for a much nicer, crunchier salad. All right, now that we've got the corn done, it's time to get our beans ready. I'm just using canned black beans, about 3 cans. Want to take these, put them through a mesh strainer, and rinse them off. This is just to get all the processed gook off of them, sugar, extra salt, what have you. We're going to be re-seasoning those, so it's a good idea. Just go ahead and put them in their strainer, rinse them real good thoroughly till their water runs clear, and then we'll be ready to go to the next step, was chop some onions. I think we're going to do a whole onion. Yeah. Got Vidalia onions still in season, so definitely take advantage of that. I think we're going to have these chopped up fine, and I'm going to actually do these kind of in half ringlets, but real thin. And hopefully I won't go to the ER by slicing my fingers again. Oh, we got Bailey helping again. It's kind of a rustic salad. We're keeping all the ingredients, you know, moderately big chop, not having to be too precise about anything. Alright, next we're going to do a serrano chili. We might do 2, but Mom's a little sensitive to heat, so we're going to start with the 1. Sometimes they're hotter in Hades. So anyway, these are consistently hot. They're hotter than a hot jalapeno. So, you know, you just measure them in as such. I'm going to go ahead and leave the seeds in here because we're only using 1. I'm going to do a fine dice. Oh, and note to self, if you've had a few drinks, make sure that you've got your contacts out before you do this, because you will forget, rub your eyes, and, well, your dog's going to stare at you while you're rolling on the floor for 2 or 3 hours. The heat is in the seeds and the ribs, and if you notice, I'm doing it with all of them, but I'm only going to do 1. We're going to have a large salad, and with the acid from the lime juice and probably the red wine vinegar, that should probably alleviate that thing. We got some cilantro here. We'll take off a few of the stems. And we're just going to give this a moderately rough chop. I do have a few stems in here. They're okay as long as you get them cut up moderately fine. I'm going to add the corn into it now.
Today's show is all about tips, tricks, food finds, and recipes that'll give you little added energy boosts throughout your day. First recipe today is for party poppin' trail mix. Party poppin' trail mix.
Oh, that's good stuff. Got a little fresh mint out of the garden here. Going to do a quick chiffonade. Trying not to slice the fingers. Of course, chopped. And we're going to put the juice of a couple of limes in here. It's always good to roll them up first. we're going to do just an eyeball here, probably about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. That'll do. And I think about half a cup of olive oil. I'm using pure olive oil. It's a neutral flavor. It's not the extra virgin stuff, so it's not too powerful, but it's a very neutral flavor, but olive oil is good for you. And lastly, I'm going to use a little tequila in here, Salsa Blue. About 4 tablespoons is a shot. And what the heck, one for the cooked. Whew. All right, a little fresh cracked black pepper. And I'm thinking just to start off with a little teaspoon of salt. We're going to whisk it up and give it a shot. The old Justin Wilson hand measure. That smells good. All right, we're going to add the vinaigrette to the salad. Give it a toss. Now, it looks like just a little bit of dressing, and actually we're going to have to toss this around honestly and test it out to see if it is enough, or if we have to make another batch. But anyway, just toss it, and we're going to put this in the fridge and let it sit for a while. All the flavors marinate together. Okay, we've transferred the bowl. We're going to put this under a lid and put it in the fridge. We did find out that the dressing, I mean, it's just, we used 3 cans of black beans and 4 heads of corn. The sweetness of the corn was a little much, so we ended up adding just a little more. We added the juice of 2 more limes, about a tablespoon more of red wine vinegar.
Tablespoon red wine.
And toss that, and that seems to work pretty well. We're going to put this in the fridge and let it marinate for a few hours.
There you go. There you go.
All right, well, the ribs have been in here. Usually I do, like, for spare ribs, 4 in 1, 4 naked, 4 in foil, 1 without. But these have taken a little longer. If you look right there, you can see the bones are just starting to pull away, so I'm getting ready to foil them. I've made some foil up here, and I've got a pan down here. I'm ready for 2 sets. I have a double thing folded together and then a single one in the center. And I've got one of these for each one of them, just so that we can try to keep it tough enough to where pulling in and out the ribs, they won't fall, mess up the foil. These things are actually getting very tender. And just gonna kind of make a little pouch with them. I'm going to take some of the marinade that we'd had here, the base, mop, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to pour a little into each patch. This is going to allow nice little braise. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. I'm going to take and make a nice seal on these. And put each one of these back into the smoker. All right, brisket's been on, goodness, quite a while. I'll have to look at the time. But anyway, the old meat thermometer says it's doing 178. Now, I usually try to pull out between 160 and 180. Just depends on how much I've been drinking. But from things that I've read, a piece of meat cannot absorb any more smoke after roughly 100, 160, 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So at this point, I'm going to pull it out like I did the ribs. Got those up there, they're going. And I'm going to do the same thing I did to them, but I can't do it because one-handed camera. But put it into a foil pouch, put our mop liquid on it, then I'm going to stick it back in. And I'm going to let it go until about 190. Actually, probably on this one, I'm going to let it go to about 200 or a little bit over, because I want the brisket to almost start to fall apart. Not quite. I want it to be sliceable. And at this point, you really don't need to worry about doing wood anymore, since you're going to foil everything. With this, I'm just putting charcoal. I'm doing nothing but just throwing heat into the smoke box. So I've stuck that up with charcoal, and I'm going to foil up the brisket and throw it in. All right. Well, it's about 6 o'clock, a little after, and no, I'm trash. Anyway, I've taken the brisket out because I couldn't one-hand it with the camera. But anyway, I'm doing the cooler trick here. Now this is something that you can do if you're doing a smoker. And actually, when I do parties, I do this all the time. Actually, I do my smoking the day before, and I sit here and do it in the cooler. I pack it with towels, cooler, each layers with towels, and this will actually keep it warm almost 24 hours. Got this here. Another layer of towels, and I'm just going to take the ribs out. Carefully, trying not to break them. This is the thing that always happens. I mean, you have to be really careful with this because you're going to lose all the juices. There we go. Throw a couple of, one more layer of towels on top. And then when you're ready to eat, it's good to go. Onions.
I hadn't been drinking. I'm